All right. Well, welcome, Derik. I just ran you through, and just in case I don't know if we'll use these recordings or not, but we just sort of changed the format. So this will be my first with you using the format, which I'm actually really excited about because I think it's much more in line with what it is we do every week on the calls, and that is we don't come to try to solve any problems. And I think that like some of the best solutions come when you're not trying to solve the problem and focusing on really like clarifying the things we bring to the table. So what we're going to do for the 20 minutes is you have, and I almost want you to like write it down so we can see it, but
okay.
But like you like, is it fair to say you came with like, here's a place I might be looking for a little more clarity?
Yeah, it was a little squishy, but yeah, I definitely have one of those places.
Yeah, so just write down a couple of words so you remember that. Because what we're gonna do, based on like as said before, like sometimes like it's like dating. If we continue to focus on like, oh, I need to find this person, they become harder to find, and when you stop looking, that's when you find them. So we're gonna introduce that same philosophy, but we're gonna bring a little science to it. So I'm going to put right up here. This is, you can see the chat, yeah?
I can see it, perfect.
Yeah. So this is our FIRES model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you pick one of the categories. So this will influence like the category you pick. I'll pick one of the questions designed how we design them. And so picking a category that you want, that you feel like, boy, if I could get a little more clarity, maybe even a little more confidence in this area, that would be the one to explore. So the FIRES model is feelings, so helpful emotions like gratitude, confidence, influence, like your impact on things, resilience, how you get over challenges, your mindset, your ethics, meaning your values and your purpose, and your strengths, meaning your skills and abilities. So I'll have you pick one of those categories. I'll start with a question, and then 20 minutes, I do what we do every week on the Finding Good Calls, which is just ask what we call positively oriented questions. So I'm not looking to clarify what's wrong with you. We're looking to clarify what's right with you. And we're treating it a bit like a scavenger hunt. And the cool thing about this is because you're picking a category, I'm not trying to solve a problem for you, right? So I don't give any suggestions, opinion, feedback, or advice. But what we know from the design of the questions and from doing this in a while, that some cool things happen in this conversation. Two things that I'll warn you about. I may interrupt you. And when I'm interrupting, it's really because we're focused on context and not content, right? So if it starts to get in the story, I might switch into like, tell me why that's important, as opposed to tell me about it, right? But sometimes we go back and forth in the other two. And the most important bit that I tell people all the time is lower your expectations. And there's actually like some science behind that. What I mean is the more we're having fun, the more we're treating this as an exploration, as opposed to like, we've got to solve this problem, the more your brain is actually open to an insight, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the neuroscience behind that is slightly positively oriented, not thinking directly about the problem. So we're going to apply that with this. All right, so we'll start the timer now indirectly. Which category, which FIRES category would you like to start?
Strength.
Fair. Yeah, so this is a great one. Yeah, so I'll start this with actually the question that we used in the groups this week. So the question we used in the groups in our FIRES practice or sessions this week was, what is a strength that you developed in 2021 that you can use for a goal in 2022? That you either grew or discovered or developed in 2021 that you can use for a goal this year?
How about patience?
So tell me about how you developed patience last year.
I find that I am pretty controlling. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm driven, I'm a founder. I'm more on the vision side or futurist side. And I start to get nervous when I don't know what the day-to-day type activity within the team, what's happening in the day-to-day.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm trying to stay out in front of things, but I still have to understand and know that the fulfillment side of the business or the service side of the business isn't falling apart.
Ooh.
And I think the skill that I'm getting better at or introducing to myself, not to, it affects others, but introducing to myself is trying to be a little more patient.
So what would you say allows you to be patient?
Meditation, breathing, yoga,
So what is it? So those are the activities that kind of help with the patience, but what then drives you to go to meditation and do all of those things?
I feel like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what drives that activity, because I see myself in someone else's eyes when I'm being controlling.
So here's a bit. So we call this like where the house is and where the house isn't. So you just told me where the house isn't, because I feel like an asshole and I see myself. It sounded like I don't want somebody to see me this way.
Yeah, I don't want to look like an asshole.
Yeah. How do you want to look?
I would like to look like a Zen master. How about that? I want to look like a very calm business owner and coworker and peer, and someone that I want to look like someone that someone would want to work with, that's not trying to control them.
Yes. If you looked into 2021, because it's kind of based on the question here, and I'm going to change it a little bit using your words. Where in 2021, in all the challenges you went through, can you tell me the time that in the midst of all those challenges, you showed up in a calm, Zen-like manner that you left really proud about?
Describe a specific time, or
just one that you can think of. Yeah, and you don't have to tell me all of the details, but
I found myself in a meeting with one of our customers and with the team. And typically I'm trying to stay out of those meetings, but because I didn't this time, right. Because of the reason of what we're talking about, I sat through the meeting. And I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything throughout the meeting, and even more so after the meeting, I just trusted that everyone was going to do the work and fulfill the way that we described it in the meeting, and I wouldn't have to put my hands around it.
How was that trust developed? How did you create the trust to be able to go and do that?
How did I create the trust? I thought about it before we went into the meeting. I
thought. So that sounds like preparation.
Preparation, mindset, force.
What did you do? So like, there's that side of like, I kind of have to force myself to trust, but like, if I think about it in relationship, like there's things I have to do in the relationship to then be able to trust. What are the besides just and they're important, like that prep and the mindset I had before the meeting, what did you do with the team prior to that to have that trust?
I brought resources in that could help organize everyone. Meaning project management and integration resources that I've known for a while that we were lacking.
Yeah, and when you did that helped create trust. Why?
Several different reasons. One, it kept us all organized. It gave me a resource that could give me information outside of everyone else.
And how would you like,
Clarity.
so that a resource that would give you information that gave you what then, besides just, so getting that information, now that I have information, what do I now have more of?
Clarity. Just clarity.
Clarity of like what specific, like that, you know, everything's going on, or what?
Yeah, the things are moving in a direction that felt healthy, and that everyone was doing what we planned on everyone to do.
Right. So there's this prep and mindset bit, but it sounds like you're able to trust people, and this is just reflecting back what I just heard. You're able to trust people when things are organized, and you have an amount of a level of clarity that things are moving forward, right? So you have this level of clarity, you feel organized. Is there anything else you need to feel like you can have that trust?
Ownership.
Tell me about ownership.
Ownership for me is that the expectations of the customer is clear to the person that's managing the customer, and in turn is sort of their North Star, let's say. And
so that
is there.
So I just picked up a third one there, again, just reflecting back. When things are organized, they're clearly moving forward, and the expectations are clear.
Yeah.
If those three things are happening, trust is much more likely.
Trust is likely.
Yeah. Okay. So just to reflect here, when you started, you said it was patience, right? So is it patience or is it trust?
It's trust.
Yeah. Okay. And so if we have these three things, organization, that it's organized, clearly moving forward, and clear expectations, you have more trust. Now let's move that into 2022. Where can you create more organization, clarity that things are moving forward, and clear expectations? Like where can you bring those things to tackle a future goal? Like how can you rather? Like where can you create more of those is what I'm asking, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I think I need to operationalize those things. I mean, when I'm thinking about my challenge, it's business related.
Yeah.
So I'll stay within that focus. But I think the answer is to everything. I don't know if that's the answer.
No, tell me about that.
I think it needs
you bring it to everything. Yeah.
I think it's a constant.
Yeah. So I'll change it here. What one thing could you bring this clarity, organization, and clear expectations? What's the thing, if you brought those three to this challenge or goal, would have the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time?
To our if we're thinking the same, if we're thinking about the same thing, I'm just to customer fulfillment. I mean, at the highest level, that's, if that is there as a structure, a great deal of my trust is gained.
And so is it like, can you identify in your head like how that would play out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's 20 minutes. Well, it's a little less actually. Yeah. So now I'm curious, because we started this, we changed the process. Well, we didn't change the process. We actually went more to what we do every week. So when people show up in the calls, nobody knows anything about anybody. We start in this category. But you can, but what happens every week is we come with stuff in the back of our head. God, I've like these problems. We are inundated with problems. But given how we did this, you kind of came with like, here's some place I would go. We purposely didn't dive directly into that. but where the check is now is after the conversation.
Yep.
What impact has this conversation had on what you were ruminating on?
Complete impact, because the element I was bringing into the conversation originally is a byproduct of what we just worked through.
And what was it? Just broadly speaking, yeah.
Not feeling like I am, or feeling like I'm siloed
right.
within the organization, meaning that my skill sets set me apart, but it also makes me not with the ability to work with others in the company. I mean, I'm driving the strategy for the company, but I feel siloed.
Right.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
And then this, and so this conversation then helped with that. How?
Well, I feel siloed because of, the lack of clarity and the things that we talked about. And with the right preparation, I don't think I'll feel siloed with the right pieces in place, with the right integration. So I think.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
I think that it actually answers it directly.
Nice. So, and here's the interesting thing. It's like where you started. And this is the whole reason we designed the questions this way and we designed the process this way is our brain is obviously always running from bears. That's what I say. It's like, it's designed to like, here's the problems, and it gets really good at it. It's like you started with like patience. And then I was like, well, what's the definition of that? And the definition sounded like, well, I kick my ass a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just got to smack my head against the wall.
My grip's too tight all the time.
Yeah. And then, so like getting under that, like, okay, what's like, that's where the positive orient. So we call this positive curiosity, this first part where it's like, okay, like where, like, so the first questions are like, where is, I'm looking for like, where's the actual good feeling that maybe this thing provides? And then if we can identify that, then we do the second process with what we call positive accountability. And that's where it's like, that's where I'm driving down to like, okay. And you came right after it, like, from controlling and nervous to like, I want to feel like the Zen master. And then you said the word calm, which then opened up the door to say, okay, let's go down that rabbit hole and say, what is it that creates calm? Because now we're getting to the core, like let's be accountable as to what you're actually bringing, right? So patience focuses on what I'm not doing, but I'm going to get accountability on what I'm doing and trust. And then once we do trust, then the third part is what we call positive understanding, which is like, what is the narrative? So if we know it's trust now, where has it been? How did we get it? And now how can we do it forward?
And how do we use it?
Yeah. So now what started as a narrative of like, I got to kick my ass in patience and be patient, right? Is I've worked the best when I can feel like I trust everybody. And I do that with these three things. And with that, I can go and attack this challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No. It was pretty clear as we traveled through it.
Yeah, nice. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the recording here.